Welcome into this week's edition of Third and Long, folks, here on Sportstree. We hope you tuned in last week because we absolutely crushed it. We finished 11 of 16 on our official bets, making 4.7 units of profit over on Sportstree, utilizing our brand new betting model. And we're going to utilize it again today, run through every single NFL game, but we're starting with Thursday Night Football. And let me tell you one thing, the model loves this guy, Mr. Joshy Boy Allen. Buffalo, if you didn't know, welcome to the Josh Allen Show. Well, his presence under center has never, his presence and prowess under center has never been questioned. Josh Allen, he dominates teams. He really does. He single-handedly dominates teams, and there's one team he dominates more than any other, and it is the Miami Dolphins. Throughout his career, in 13 games, Josh Allen has thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in every single game against the Dolphins. That streak, 13 straight games, is the longest streak from any one quarterback throwing against any one single opponent, multiple touchdowns against any one single opponent in NFL history. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Josh Allen Show. He's won 11 out of his last 12 matchups against the Dolphins. In those wins, Buffalo has averaged 35.7 points and over 400 yards of offense. In the 2 meetings last season against Miami, Allen completed 81% of his passes for 679 yards with 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, a QB rating of 130. This guy fucks. This guy fucks the Miami Dolphins. That's literally what he does. Josh Allen is the king. We're taking some props on him tonight. If you weren't aware, Josh Allen, 2 touchdown passes, plus 110. You're getting plus money for a guy to throw a pair of touchdown passes when he literally has never not done that throughout the entirety of his career. Not only did he throw for 2 last week, but he actually added another 2 with his legs, and our betting model absolutely loves him to find pay dirt yet again. One of our best parlays that we have put together, a same-game parlay. It's a little juicy, dash 125. Josh Allen for 250 yards rushing or passing, and then 2 touchdowns rushing or passing. We're putting 2.5 units on that. Yeah. 2.5 units to win 2 units. Absolutely love that bet. Take Josh Allen. This is Josh Allen's game. We're going to ride the Josh Allen props. There's your 2 Josh Allen bets: to throw for 2 touchdowns, to score 2 touchdowns, and to eclipse 250 yards, whether it's with his legs or whether it's with his arm. As long as he gets it done, that's all that matters to us. Our betting model has him throwing those 2 touchdowns at a 78.3% probability rate, and then for the same game parlay, that cashes in at 82.5% of the time. So those are some pretty good numbers. If you want to know our total for the game, head over to sportstree.ca, and we actually have a pick against the spread as well. Head over to sportstree.ca, sign up, and you can get those bets. We have 4 bets, official bets for this game. I just gave you 2. Let's continue. The Cincinnati Bengals visit the Kansas City Chiefs yet again. I feel like there's been at least 18 games where the Bengals have visited the Chiefs over the last 3 seasons. It was Burrowhead. It was Arrowhead. Look, I don't know what's going on with Joe Burrow's wrist. He did not look good last week. They lost to the New England Patriots. Their defense played all right. But, Kansas City, they should win this football game. That's all we really have to say about that. Too many question marks around the Cincinnati Bengals team. Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young struggles under pressure, and now he has to deal with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa this week, each of whom had at least 1 sack in the opener. We like the under. The model is leaning towards the Chargers. If you want to get the exact percentages, head over, sign up today at sportstree.ca. Titans and Jets. The Titans look terrible. Will Levis averaged under 4 yards per attempt last week against the Bears, threw 2 picks and fumbled. Now he has to go against the Jets defense, who we had as the number 1 ranked defense going into the season. We like the under here. I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to move the ball. I'm not sold from what I saw from that Jets offense. And again, the Titans have an underrated defense, one of the better secondaries in the NFL. The model is leaning towards the under. If you want to get the exact probability, head over to sportstree.ca, sign up and play today, but we are leaning towards the under. Now, Rams versus Cardinals. The Los Angeles Rams, they look great on both sides of the ball. I know they lost in Detroit. They lost in overtime, but Matthew Stafford shredded Detroit for over 300 yards, and then Cooper Kupp had 110 yards and a receiving touchdown, and that made us a shitload of money because we had Cooper Kupp over on his receiving yards, and we had Cooper Kupp getting into the end zone, and that paid out on Sunday Night Football. Now, if we're looking for player props, James Conner was a force in Buffalo last week, and remember, that Rams defense was bullied by David Montgomery in overtime, straight down the field, touchdown drive. It didn't look very good. However, I don't think Arizona has the full package offensive presence at this point. Obviously, they have a lot of talented pieces, but they can't pull it all together. We all saw that Marvin Harrison Jr. clip for the game-winning touchdown against Buffalo last week where he's literally wide open waving, and then Kyler says it's not his job to get him the ball. Bro, you're a quarterback. Your job is literally to throw the ball to wide receivers, especially when they're wide freaking open. We like the Rams in this one, and James Conner. If this is a competitive game and the game script doesn't get out of hand and the Rams go up too much too early, look for James Conner to make his mark in this one. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Raiders were diced up on the ground for 176 yards last week. Well, Derrick Henry had an underwhelming performance after a productive start. Look, opening drive, you hand them the ball 6 times, you score a touchdown. You hand them the ball 3 times for the rest of the first half, you're shut out. The Ravens might have the stupidest offensive coordinator in the NFL. Hand the ball to Derrick Henry in favorable matchups and let him cook. We're taking Derrick Henry. The model likes the over. Derrick Henry over on those rushing yards. Lock it in. Lions at Buccaneers. Here's one that the model absolutely loves. In this playoff rematch, expect these offenses to erupt. Baker Mayfield is fresh off the best game of his career. I'm not being facetious or sarcastic. He threw 4 tutties, 289 yards for a 146.4 passer rating. What? He also torched the Lions in the playoffs last year for 349 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dating back to last season, Mayfield has thrown for at least 280 yards in 5 out of his last 6 starts and over 300 yards in 4 of those. The Lions gave up the 6th most passing yards last season, and they were just shredded by Matthew Stafford for 317 yards. Coincidence? I think not. This has the making to be another shootout between these NFC opponents, but your best prop, your best bet, take Baker Mayfield over on his passing lines. The betting model absolutely loves it. For a win probability percentage on that, make sure you head over to sportstree.ca and check it out today. New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win this football game. They're an all-around package. Now, the Saints played an excellent game against the Carolina Panthers, but that's the Carolina Panthers. Dallas Cowboys went into Cleveland and embarrassed the Browns. Well, that's not hard to do, especially when Deshaun Watson's under center. I believe in this Cowboys offense, and I believe in their defense, and they are at home. Cowboys win. Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. New England's identity this year is to run the clock, run the ball, and control the pace of play. That's all they can really do, especially without Drake May at QB1. Jacoby Brissett looked brutal last week, but he was a game manager. They bring in Drake May. They might actually be able to do some damage. However, Jacoby Brissett is starting this game, and he's going up against Mike McDonald's Seahawks, who look damn good on defense. Both these defenses look absolutely solid. We're taking the under between the Pats and the Seahawks. The New York Giants versus the Washington Commanders. Genuinely, who cares? The Washington Commanders just made Baker Mayfield look like the second coming of Christ, and the New York Giants are the New York Giants. They're awful. They're still starting Daniel Jones. This is a volatile matchup on paper, and it should be ignored from every single betting perspective, and probably just ignored, and maybe both these teams should be relegated to the CFL. Cleveland Browns and Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Cleveland Browns are another team that should be relegated, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, well, they looked competent last week against the Miami Dolphins, just couldn't get it done. Outside of that, I don't think we've seen the best of these teams, and believe it or not, I don't think we've seen the worst of these teams. I don't think the Browns are very good. They took on the most backup quarterbacks last year, and that's why their defense stood out on paper. Let's look into the actual splits that the Browns put up. Horrible offense until Joe Flacco showed up. Defense that just bullied inferior opponents. They just got shit kicked at home by the Cowboys. I have zero faith in the Cleveland Browns against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe we bet Jacksonville. It's a volatile matchup. Probably not. Green Bay Packers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Now, without Jordan Love, I don't know what this Packers team can do. Is Malik Willis as accurate as Love to hang in the pocket and sling the rock? I don't think he is. So Green Bay could be in a lot of trouble, especially against this Colts pass rush. DeForest Buckner is an absolute beast. This Indianapolis Colts team, they're solid and explosive on offense. One thing that I will note is that Joe Mixon absolutely trounced the Colts for 159 yards on the ground last week. So I like Josh Jacobs to go off, especially without Jordan Love. This is the makings for Josh Jacobs. However, he has a back injury. The model does like him to do his thing, but right now the score's a little low because of the injury. We'll update the model closer to game day, but to head over to SportsTree before kickoff and check that out, because we could have a really nice bet here on Josh Jacobs to do his thing against this Indianapolis Colts team. However, I do like the Colts to win this game. The San Francisco 49ers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold played a hell of a game against the New York Giants to kick off the season for the Vikes. However, that was the New York Giants. Their defense does not hold a candle to the 49ers. And the 49ers have a better offense. Look, Jordan Mason looked like a stud. He may have blown the team's cover by saying that Christian McCaffrey is actually way more hurt than he is. But it doesn't matter when he's performing like that and you got Brock Purdy slinging it down the field to Debo, Brendan Ayuk, George Kittle. This team's in good position. They're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota this weekend. Sunday Night Football on NBC. It is my Chicago Bears heading into Houston to take on the Texans, and the Bears better have a better offensive performance, or this could be over fast. You've got an elite defense, a 1985 Bears-esque, 06 Bears-esque defense that scored a touchdown last week on a pick six, and with special teams, blocked a punt for a touchdown. That's what you want to see from the Chicago Bears, especially going up against C.J. Stroud in this absolutely stacked Houston offense. The Bears want to be the Houston Texans next year. That's the idea. Bring in a bunch of receivers, look great doing it. Caleb Williams develops into a C.J. Stroud-esque kind of quarterback. The Bears are fine. However, it's week 2. Caleb Williams is making his second start. He looked horrendous in his first start. You got to go with the Texans here. But I also like the under. I think this could be a slugfest, especially on primetime. And we all know how those primetime games usually turn out. Folks, I'm Connor Rowntree. Enjoy the football.